You cannot trust the system. America is very deceptive and very much able to create narratives around anything. When we talk about police shootings, when I talk about Tamir Rice, John Crawford, Breonna Taylor, Amir Locke, Atatiana Jefferson, Sandra Bland, any of the people that I've covered when I cover these types of cases, have you noticed that media narrative can be whatever it wants? And often it chooses to focus on the background of the deceased, unarmed black person. How many people have noticed that? Now, to people for some reason on certain platforms or certain ideologies, when I bring these things up, they say I'm defending or I'm race baiting or something. That's because they don't want to listen to obvious realities. They think it's normal for when a child is killed for us to hear more about the child than the person who pulled the trigger. That's not normal. That's not regular. It's regular to you because you live in this corrupt system where it makes it regular. But it's not regular that the deceased person is put on trial while the person who actually pulled the trigger and took the life is pretty much scot-free. I mean, we know more about the backgrounds of Trayvon Martin than we know about Zimmerman. You knew more about Michael Brown than you knew about that weird Opie Cunningham-looking mofo that shot him. I can't even remember his name at this point. I don't even remember that guy's name who killed Michael Brown. I see him, but I can't remember his name. You know why? Because no one talked about it. Everything was about Michael Brown. But what you got to be able to do is you have to be able to say, okay, we're talking about police shootings, we're talking about media narratives, but you got to be able to take that and transfer it and use it other places when we talk about other issues. Because it's not just about black people getting shot in the street. The same rules apply. Part of trying to run a business is being able to take advice from other people about what you should do at any juncture, right? And this is what I've had to learn the hard way. And this is why people fail in business. It's probably why I've been having such a hard time. It's one thing to take and look at what someone else is doing in your same line of business. If you make pizzas, it's one thing to go look at other pizza companies and try to do what they're doing. Anyone can do that. But when you can look at other forms of business that have nothing to do with pizza and apply those principles, now you're doing something, because that's not something everyone can do. Everyone can't go look at a car wash that's highly effective or trend-setting. It's on the bleeding edge of customer service or the way it does its processes, and take those and apply it to its own business. It's not a direct connection. It's not easy because you're making pizzas. You're not washing cars. But that's the extra level. That's when you're really doing something. Anybody could just go copy McDonald's. But to take what's effective in another industry and apply it. So what I'm saying, guys, is why are people taking what we've learned about propaganda, about mainstream media, about narratives being false, and applying them to Ukraine and Russia? What have we been talking about all this time? I got people going, you need to look at this, you need to look at this about Ukraine, you need to look at this about Putin. Motherfucker, I don't love Putin. I'm not a Putin supporter. Why are you missing the forest from the trees? When everyone's saying go left, why are you so willing to go left? If everybody's saying go left. Haven't we learned anything? You trust the messaging that's coming out of these news entities? You do? Well, you might as well believe when they say that they had to shoot up Breonna Taylor's home. You might as well, because you believe it when they tell you something else. Well, they said this. Well, how you know it's true? And all I'm saying is, I'm not saying Putin's right or this other guy who I didn't even know until Zelensky or whatever, prime minister from Ukraine. I don't even know if he's a prime minister or president. I don't know. But why would you believe either one of these guys? I'm trying to figure out why. I'm discovering negative things about Ukraine every day as well. Aren't you? And if you're not discovering negative things about Ukraine, why? Why didn't you know more about Darren Wilson? That's his name, Darren Wilson. Why didn't we know more about Darren Wilson when Michael Brown was killed? He didn't have a gun, by the way. Why don't you know where Darren Wilson grew up? Why don't you know about domestic violence in his past? Why don't you know about drug abuse, alcohol abuse? What was his blood toxicology level when he shot Michael Brown? How many run-ins had he had before that with black kids? How many incidents of police violence or how many complaints did he have? If you don't know the answers to those questions, ask yourself, why don't you know them? Why don't you know more about Ukraine? See, this is what I had to come to. I've been doing this for 10 years. I don't want to assume that it's something to do with my pigmentation, my melanin, that makes you question if I actually give a fuck about the shit I cover. I don't want to assume you think I know less. Because I don't know less. I have a lot of common sense. I've survived this long in this system being this person. A little bit different than some of my counterparts who don't have kids or wife and haven't been black their whole lives in the system that's hell-bent on sending me through the prison industrial complex. The worst they had to do was surf the couch at mama's house and push the Scooby-Doo van. Some of them. The majority of them. These people are considered my peers. So it's frustrating because people are not connecting the dots. And I'm not saying, once again, I'm not saying that Russia's right at all, because I don't know if Russia's right about what they're doing. But I know I don't trust America. I know I don't trust America when it comes to war. Now, if you trust America when it comes to war, dog, this is why I don't cover international news. It's infuriating. There is absolutely nothing I can do with anything I discover. There's really no skin in the game because I'm not there. And when I talk about it, who am I talking to? I can't even get them to clean up water in Flint. I can't get them to get the sewage right in Alabama. I can't get them to pay the descendants of the actual people who were bombed out of their homes in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I can't even pressure local government to pay the 95-year-old woman whose family was destroyed in Tulsa before she leaves the earth. But people talk for hours about Cuba, Venezuela, Russia, Ukraine. And it's like, damn, I don't know if I could deal with that level of frustration. At least I have a glimmer of hope. I could shame the shit out of Lori Lightfoot. Here's a glimmer of hope. I know it's very slim. You know? Back to this. There have been people that have commented to me, they said, Tim, you got to look at it like this. Sometimes we don't know these things. That's what you're here for, Tim. So let me slow down. Let me say this. Maybe you don't know about the war in Yemen, where some estimate there's been 400,000 people killed in the last 6 years, and that we've been assisting Saudi Arabia to do that. Meanwhile, America's telling you we need to go into Russia for human rights violations, while we fund Saudi Arabia, which has bombed and starved babies in Yemen to the tune of some estimate 400,000. Now that was 220. That was 2020 estimate, I think. The numbers are obviously higher now. No one talks about it. Bombs was just dropped in Yemen yesterday with our name on them. No one talked about it. Not a human rights violation, and it didn't make news. Somalia, same thing. Bombs just dropped in Somalia a couple days ago, yesterday. U.S. name on it, no one talked about it. You don't see that it's weird that they're talking about Ukraine and not talking about shit we had a hand in? That's not weird to you? That's why I don't like talking about international news, because it becomes infuriating. Because for some reason, even some black people don't see that when black people die, nobody gives a shit. That's not just in the U.S. They don't care. Black lives don't matter elsewhere either. Neither do brown lives matter elsewhere. But Tim, you gotta have a heart about Ukraine. Motherfucker, you need to have a heart about what's going on in Buffalo, New York. I can't get you to care about Buffalo, New York. I can't get you to give a shit about what's happening in Minnesota. Amir Locke sitting on a couch in Minnesota. You can walk to that. You can take a bus to it. You can't walk to Ukraine, mofo. And I can't get you to give a flying, I can't get them to care about that. But I tell you, there's a place that you can't get to where there's nothing that can hold you accountable for it. In a place of thousands and thousands of miles away, I guess you could, Guess you could talk about that endlessly. Some feel that America tried to create this war in Ukraine. I don't know that to be true. There's a lot of weapons money on the table. Arms manufacturers and energy companies stand to profit from this. I don't know. Would America do that? Would America do something for money? Huh? Would America lean on Ukraine? We know we're supporting apartheid in Israel. Uh-oh, hope this channel don't go down. But you know this. You know that. Well, we're going to have to start applying same rules to different scenarios. Because one thing remains constant. Us. When I say us, I don't mean us literally. You know what I'm saying? America has sanctioned the hell out of Cuba for how many decades? Toppled Gaddafi, leading to literal slavery in Libya. Yeah, we'll get right on that humanitarian issue right away. Let's get right to it. Plundered and desecrated and sanctioned the hell out of Haiti. We'll get right on that, Johnson. Oh, but you gotta have more compassion for the Ukrainians. Yeah, I'm trying to find yours for the Palestinians, for the Cubans, for the Haitians. Anything? Any love, any concern at all? I don't know what's going on in China, but I know we're making them the boogeyman. Why does America always make everyone the boogeyman except people that do their bidding? I don't know. You don't see a running theme here? It's not China, it's Russia, everyone else is bad but us. But we're the only ones that drop nuclear bombs. And we didn't even have to do it, and we still won't even admit that we didn't have to do that. Nagasaki, Hiroshima, we still won't admit that we didn't have to do that. We just did it because, hey, if we don't drop it, we won't know how devastating our bombs are. So let's do it now while we can. Yeah, but I thought we already had a peace agreement. Yeah, I know, but drop it anyway. These are the people that you're saying I need to listen to when it comes to intelligence in order to form an opinion on my show as I discuss these events that I can't validate That's really what you want me to do? And if I don't give it the requisite amount of attention, you say I don't care about it, huh? I don't care. Oh, okay. Now, maybe I just don't believe everything I'm told. And if I can't get you to care about what's happening right here in D.C., where I live at, where our homeless population is tripling, that's being gentrified to hell, life expectancy plunging for black people in this area, why would I think you care about that? You really think they give a fuck about Ukrainians? I mean, come on, Johnson. We don't care about vets, U.S. vets. Oh, God. You got to hand it to them, though. They sure know how to form a line, don't they? A line dance, boy. They all learn how to do the same steps right in time, right on beat, too, don't they? Don't they all fall in line? There's a price to pay for that falling in line, Johnson. Know that shit. It's a price to pay for every one of these people that are falling in line if they refuse to. They will be blackballed the fuck out of their jobs. Know that. Some people say that America's stealing the wealth out of Afghan. The Afghani's wealth. That's what, like the little bit of wealth that was left after we bombed the shit out of them. Some people say we stole all their wealth that's left. We've been plundering them. Not me saying it, that's just what I've been reading. And these are the people once again, you think I should listen to when it comes to. We still got hostages in Guantanamo Bay, though, 8 years ago. What was it, 8 years ago, 10 years ago? We're supposed to have been closed that down. We still got hostages in Guantanamo Bay and in other black sites around the globe. Humanitarian crisis, huh? Gotta step in, man. Bad things are happening. Bad things are going on. We gotta get in there. Wasn't for us. Bad things to be able to prevail. You know, we could talk international, but we could go right back to our domestic policies. Our domestic policies actually set the table for all of this. Federal Reserve is a piggy bank for whatever mischief our war machine is up to, right? A good backstop for our financial securities to make fun time with our retirements and our pensions, with our home mortgages. Meanwhile, the working class is being thrown down the shitter. And I guess we're going to pretend that this is just incompetence. Sort of like when the cops show up in the black neighborhood and accidentally shoot up the place. It's just incompetence, Tim. It's not racism. It's just incompetence. We got to learn to, once again, take one, look at it, and apply it other places because it's not in a vacuum. This is the mode of operation. This is what we do. The person that lies to you about where they were, who their friends are, where they're going is the same one who'll lie when they cheat on you. When your money's missing. When the accounts are emptied. It's a theme. It's a feature, not a bug. You know this stuff. Well, if you know this stuff, why are we having to have this conversation? If we all know it. We're supposed to be the smart ones. We're supposed to be the see through the nonsense. But there we go. Had a couple people tell me, I don't like your video, man. Well, I never once said anything nice about Putin. Well, it's just, you weren't being supportive enough of the Ukrainians. Be supportive of the Americans. How about that shit? Yeah, I mean, all life is precious. Every bit of it. That's why I don't like talking about international, because I have a problem. I can't look past what I see here. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't know in Ukraine, they were worrying about black people in D.C. or Maryland. I'm sorry. Maybe they are. Maybe they can't sleep at night because the infant mortality rate for black babies is almost 3 times higher than white kids. Maybe the Ukrainians can't sleep for us. Ooh, they're just, oh my God, they can't deal with it. I'm sure they're having a hard time tossing and turning in their beds, worrying about little black babies here in Nashville, Tennessee. Black mothers dying 3 times the rate of white women giving childbirth. Our babies dying 3 times more often. Almost 11 per 1,000. White women, 4 per 1,000. Or white kids, white babies, which is horrible. Who's losing sleep? I don't know. Maybe there are other people in other countries, or are they also focused on what's going on in their own country too much to kind of worry about what's going on domestically with us? Would you fault them for it? No. But I'll get faulted, though, if I don't have the requisite amount of compassion for people in other countries when my shits are... Okay. I'm getting too pissed off now. Okay, I discovered this today. How many people know what Operation Paperclip is? This will say everything. If we need to go further after this, we really need to have a conversation about being naive. Operation Paperclip is a CIA operation where America, after World War II, America wanted to advance our technology, wanted to catch up with the rest of the world. And there were some great scientists and engineers available. Unfortunately, they were Nazis. They were on the run from Germany because they were being prosecuted as Nazis. So we took them in and let them work at NASA. We brought them in and let them be Americans. And they never paid for their crimes, Johnson. That's the same country that you're telling me I need to listen to. The same road at the same time as brothers and sisters, black men and women, mostly men, I assume, were coming back World War II after fighting in those wars, were still subjected to Jim Crow. So America treated enemies, not just enemies, Johnson. We're talking about Nazis. They treated them better than they treated black vets who didn't get the GI Bill or the New Deal. But you're telling me I don't have enough compassion and I'm not listening to Biden and the administration or MSNBC like they would stand up. Like there's one person on that show who would risk losing their fucking money, losing their job to tell us some real shit. Like really? Really, that's what you think? One of them's gonna stand up and throw their whole future away? I'm dumb enough to do it, but they're not dumb enough. I'm only dumb enough to do it because I don't have a future. I'm stupid. So a country that was willing to do that with no conscience, we were still 20 years away from getting voting rights, full voting rights in a country that we fought and died for. And America's bringing back Nazis and letting them avoid prosecution for Nazi crimes, for war crimes, because they could get something out of them. I'm still trying to understand what I'm supposed to trust. Am I supposed to trust something about this government? And I'm not even saying, once again, I'm not saying side with Ukraine or side with Russia. I'm saying, wake the fuck up, Johnson. It's worse than you thought. Now, if you know these things, and I can only assume you don't really know these things, You're not in the media business, so you're not risking anything by thinking something. Unlike those of us who are risking things like opportunities. Like someone wants to come on the show of the guy who may be too soft on Putin. Like that's going to help their candidacy or help their profession. It won't help them. So you got to be very careful. Personality media, who has another job doing whatever you do, that doesn't have tape of them talking, that will hurt them next year, the next 5 years. So this is where we are. This is. But I felt it was important. And once again, for the 18th time, I'm not saying I agree with Putin or agree with Ukraine. But I'm also saying I'm not saying I agree with the U.S. Because I have we could keep going about things the U.S. has done that it makes me question their moral authority. That higher ground that Obama, Michelle, when they go low, we go high. When they go low, we blow the hell out of them. We shoot them out the sky. And then we lie about it. Then we gaslight. Then we throw a bunch of propaganda on it. Then we lock people up. Then we put them in black sites. But this is what happens, Johnson. Then we want a COINTELPRO program now to poison the movements against us, to fracture any uprising of the people. You know? And I'm not saying that Russia should have invaded Ukraine. What I'm saying is we ain't got no room to talk about shit. That's all I'm saying. So when I tell people to go watch Snowfall, you could watch whatever you want. You don't have to watch Snowfall. It was just that Snowfall, I just interviewed Len Bias's mother, and they talked about his death in the season premiere of Snowfall. I'm really proud I had an opportunity to interview this woman. And even in that story, there's a backdrop to everything I'm saying. They used the death of Len Bias in order to lock up black people and poor people for exorbitant amounts of time for a drug that he didn't even die overdose on. He was using cocaine like rich white people do. Instead of going after people with cocaine, they went after the poor people with crack and gave them 4 and 5 times the amount of time that you would give a person with cocaine. And they used this family's son's death to do that. And that's highlighted in the movie, or highlighted in the show. And it was all across the country, not just here in Maryland where Len Bias is from, and where that horrific death, tragic death occurred. All I'm saying, guys, is that we're diabolical, man. We are really good at the propaganda. We're really good at pretending to have the moral authority, being the moral authority, pretending that we got everything built on it. We got our movies built on it. We got everything. Don't let the numbers fool you. Very few people have the guts to say this type of shit without hedging. They'll hedge the hell out of it. They can't make a statement without going this way 3 times, that way 3 times. Well, it's this and that, and equivocating and going different directions. No, it is what it is. I don't have time to play games. That's not what we're here for. And once again, I'm not telling you who to trust, who to believe. I'm telling you, trust no one. Check and double check. and then realize when you're given a whole bucket full of information on one and almost no information on the other, there's probably a reason why. That's all I'm saying. It's probably a good reason why you get a treasure trove of info that puts you in one direction and almost absolutely nothing about the other side. Once again, what did you know about Darren Wilson? He was the killer. He shot Mike Brown. You know a lot about Michael Brown, though, didn't you? Oh, he had an altercation over some Philly cigars at a store. Oh, my God. He shoplifted. Somehow that's enough, man. That is enough. You shoplift, you are evil. Then we got the smash and grabs going on right now, too. Somehow, Wall Street raiding of pensions, somehow Trump's setting up so that, what's these hedge funds, not the hedge funds, what is these private equity firms can take your IRA, your retirement money, and play games and charge exorbitant fees? And then Biden, who ran on getting rid of that, is actually cementing that process. He doubled down on it. He ran on getting rid of it. These are the guys I'm supposed to listen to? These people? I think it would be crazy for me to. And when I look around, I see other people listening to it. I know what it is. Everyone's not delusional. There's a price to pay for truth in this country. It's the other way, Johnson. It's the other way. It's not a price to pay for lying. I mean, maybe if you get to like Alex Jones level and you just shock and awe everybody all the time with a bunch of bullshit, and then they focus on that to camouflage those times you weren't bullshit. You get what I'm saying? Because you're not exactly going to hear Rachel Maddow run down Operation Paperclip. You ain't going to hear Chris Hayes wax poetical about Operation Paperclip or COINTELPRO or anything else that makes America look horrible. It's also true. Those inconvenient truths. Get what I'm saying? All war, to me, unless it's in defense of yourself, is wrong. Morally wrong. Morally wrong. Period. Full stop. But some of these so-called commentators start sounding like politicians. And they got some strategy. They sit around talking strategy instead of talking morality. They sit around talking about and also looking out for the best interests of themselves and not actually trying to deliver the best information about the truth to the people that view them. And I can't do anything about that. But it's a price to pay for telling the truth in this country. I don't even know who the Azerbaijan. We gave them $100 million? Something about genocide of Armenians? A second time? I don't know what's going on, man. Like, people are sending me stuff. It doesn't make the front page. It doesn't make our newscast. That's what I'm telling you. So much stuff doesn't make our newscast. We could be put in a false sense of America never apologizes for supporting over 100 fascist coups worldwide since World War II. Destabilizing Latin America. That's us. So when they start using the like moral thing, the morality, like we need to do this for humanitarian purposes. We need to do this. And then everyone comes out, oh my God, we need to do this for morality. We need to help these people. Like, really? What else is going on? How dare you ask that? I say, are these people really drinking the Kool-Aid, or are they just part of the symphony? Because they can't be that stupid. My bad, that's Yemen. 377,000, close to 400,000. U.S. bombed Somalia yesterday, has been bombing it for 14 years. U.S. bombs were dropped on residential areas in Yemen the day before. These weapons are aimed at some of the poorest people in the world, the ungrievable lives on the other end of business as usual. Radio silence, though, Johnson. No one talked about it. And that happens all the time. Part of the reason why I refrain from talking about these issues, and because too many times when I first started out, I would listen to what was available. And then I would feel so suckered. You don't know what it's like to talk to however many people and really believe something and get on my thing. Adamantly talking about it from the heart, passionate, and then to find out it was all BS. And I need to fact check of the fact check. It became very daunting. You know what I'm saying? It's just not like you can just get firsthand information whenever you need it. So that was part of the reason why I don't cover that often. Occasionally, I will stick my toe into the water, of international politics. But it is people's lives. That's why I tend to stay away. 377,000 people. Our country had a hand in that. There are atrocities occurring right now in Saudi Arabia, and we just send them money like nothing. So when America says we're doing something for humanitarian purposes, we got a short list of humanitarian atrocities we're a part of that have our blood or their blood on our hands that we're not doing anything about. Because it's in our best interest, monetarily or strategically, to do so. I have a problem accepting that it's okay, because I don't think it's okay. I think it's wrong. Morally wrong. Morally bankrupt.